The Egyptian Civilization. Learning objectives. To understand growth of civilizations, recognize importance of rivers, learn about Egyptian civilization, explore Egyptian life, study pyramids and mummies, discover Egyptian writing. Startup. Today, you are going to learn about the ancient Egyptian civilization. Ancient Egyptians built amazing structures like the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx, and tombs for their pharaohs, kings. Pharaohs were the rulers of ancient Egypt and people treated them as living gods. Egyptians were skilled in crafts, pottery, jewelry, and even inventing the papyrus scroll for writing. People started growing crops and began living in one place. This created villages and communities. They had extra time to think and come up with new ideas. This helped civilizations to grow. Civilizations are places where people live in a settled way with houses, cities, language, rules, trade, art, and culture. Many early civilizations grew near rivers because the soil was good for farming. Rivers provided water for crops and also helped people to travel. People used bronze, a metal, to make tools and weapons. These civilizations were called Bronze Age civilizations. There are four of them: Mesopotamian civilization near the Tigris and Euphrates River, Egyptian civilization near the Nile River, Harappan civilization near the Indus and Ravi rivers in India, Chinese civilization near the Huanghe River or Yellow River. The Egyptian civilization. We know a lot about this civilization because we can read their writings. Location. The Egyptian civilization grew along the Nile River. The Nile made Egypt fertile and gave water for crops. Important cities were Thebes, Giza, and Memphis. Egyptian life. In Egypt, the king was called the pharaoh. People respected him and worshipped him. The pharaoh took care of his people. There were farmers, scribes, priests, soldiers, engineers, traders, artists, and craftspeople. Egyptians believed in many gods and goddesses. Buildings. There are many old buildings in Egypt, like the pyramids. Pyramids were tombs for pharaohs and important people. Dead bodies were preserved through mummification and put in gold coffins. Items like food, furniture, and jewelry were also placed in the tomb. Today, Egypt is famous for its pyramids and mummies. The Sphinx is another famous figure made by Egyptians. It has a lion's body and a man's face. Do you know? Ramesses II was a famous Egyptian pharaoh renowned for his military campaigns and monuments. Egyptian writing. Egyptians had a picture writing system called hieroglyphics. They wrote on walls and papyrus scrolls. Papyrus was a plant from the Nile River. The word paper comes from papyrus. We can read Egyptian writing, so we know about pharaohs like Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and Tutankhamun. In the Tutankhamun's tomb, people preserved flowers, toys, jewels, and others. Do you know the Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Great Pyramid of Khufu, was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu? For about 4,000 years, it was the tallest building in the world. People think it took about 20 years to build and more than 1 lakh workers built it. Mind map. The Egyptian civilization. Bronze Age civilization. That is Mesopotamian, Tigris and Euphrates, Egyptian, Nile, Harappan, Indus and Ravi, Chinese, Huanghe. Egyptian civilization covers River Nile's importance, cities like Thebes, Giza, Memphis, Pharaoh as a king, and god. Egyptian society. You had farmers, scribes, priests, soldiers, engineers, traders, artists, belief in gods and goddess. Egyptian script, hieroglyphics, picture writing, Papyrus scrolls, buildings, pyramids, tombs, mummies. Chapter at a glance. People started growing crops, creating villages and communities. Civilizations are places with houses, cities, language, rules, trade, art, and culture. Early civilizations grew near rivers for farming and traveling. Bronze Age civilizations include Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Harappan, and Chinese. The Egyptian civilization grew along the Nile River with cities like Thebes, Giza, and Memphis. The king in Egypt was called the pharaoh, and the people respected him and worshipped him. Egyptians believed in many gods and goddesses. Egypt is famous for pyramids, which were tombs for pharaohs, and the Sphinx. Egyptians used picture writing called hieroglyphics. They wrote on walls and papyrus scrolls. Historians and archaeologists are still learning about Egyptian civilization.